Hello everyone, this is Satyaprakash. Welcome to Coding Knowledge. In this video, I'll describe working on files by different developers or users on GitHub. So before going through this video, please visit my last part of GitHub tutorial. I have added this link in my description part. So let's check what we learned in this video. That is Git Flow Diagram with an example, how understand the Git flow, and let's check some commands, that is Git Add, Git Status, Git Push, Git Remote and Git Pool. Working on multiple files by different developers on GitHub. So let's first describe what is the understand about the Git flow. So here you can see I have added one Git flow diagram. Here GitHub is my repository account, and our GitHub account I have added two repositories, Satya 1 and Satya 2. Here two developer, local dev 1 and local dev 2. The workspace 1 for local dev 1, also the same workspace for local dev 2. So these two developers work on same files on same repository and same GitHub, but different GitHub account. So local dev 1 can work on multiple projects, that's why this .git folders are 2 is showing here, but local dev 2 work on only one repository or one project, that is Satya 2, that's why one .git folder is here. So local dev 1, okay, now .git as nothing but the physical files. Here also same, the physical files, nothing, it is called the .git folder. So local dev 1 clone these projects from Satya 1 and Satya 2 and work on there, modify these files and push these changes to the both the repository. And local dev 2 work on only one repository called Satya 2. He pulls some files and push some files to the GitHub repository, and local dev 1 pull these changes, whatever files has been pushed by local dev 2 in her workspace, and the same way local dev 2 pull the changes, whatever changes made by the local dev 1 on Satya 2 repository. So in this full diagram we understood that to make some changes or modify changes or file sharing, these operations should be depends on some GitHub commands, Git commands. So this is nothing but the Git clone, Git pull, Git push and Git status. And you can see the staging part here. So staging part is not the Git add command will be used before changes the or moves the file from local Git repository to remote GitHub repository. So I already have described what is the staging part and what are the commands required for the staging part in my previous video. Please go through that. Okay, now we understood clearly about the Git flow diagram and what are the operations and commands are required for push or pull the files and modify the files in local Git repository and remote GitHub repository. Now we'll go to these commands. So before going through these commands, I'll show one practical implementation that we'll know about sharing file between different developers. So here I'll go to my local directory here, what I already have created, that is Git1. Under Git1 folder, another folder called my Git repo YT. And in my previous video I already have created two workspace, one is local dev 1 and local dev 2 here. And dev 1 clone the Satya 2 repository in her local workspace, and here same dev 2 also clone the Satya 2 same repository to his workspace what dev 1 has cloned. So same clone repository has been put on their local workspaces for both dev 1 and dev 2 users. But here you can see local dev 1 only two files. So I'll go to the dev 1 user and go to here Satya 2 repository folder. You'll see only two folders there, two files, .git folder and readme.md. But in dev 2 there are three folders and files, including that .git, myfile.cs and readme.md. So what happened, the one extra file is available in dev2 workspace as well as in our remote git repository also. That is my file.cs is available, whatever changes has been made by the local dev2. Now but I want the local dev1 wants the same file what local dev2 has already pushed the files to GitHub repository. So local dev1 connects the same GitHub repository. For this, local dev1 will open the git bash here. So I'll go to the local dev1 workspace. Okay, now open this. This is called the workspace of local dev1 and git bash here. I'll open this, and here what will happen, local dev1 has used some commands that here my file.cs what is available in GitHub repository, that should be available in local dev1. So here there is one command called Git Pool. So this command I executed here using git bash under the local dev1 workspace. Okay, now the local dev1 has the same file. You can see the my file.cs is available here, and physically this is available here now. Okay, now I will check the list of files under local dev1 workspace. This ls command here, you can see this is available, my file.cs is available in local dev1 workspace. Now I want to clear the screen. So what will happen now, our local dev1 can see these files using the ls command what I saw here using git bash command, and next local dev1 wants to modify these files. What he pulled the files, he wants to modify these files, and remember these files also modified by the local dev2. Okay, now what will happen, I want to add one comment added by dev1, and I want a property. Here I'll just copy this one and paste this one. Instead I'll mention that brother name in eng and get and set type. I just save this one and close this file. Now here local dev1 wants to create two new files called myfile.2.cs and myfile3.cs. So here I just copy this one and I paste here. I paste here again. Now I just put here rename this and make it as myfile.2.cs, and here I'll rename this one, make it as myfile3.cs. Okay, now what will happen, local dev1 has changed some modification in myfile.cs which is common to both developers, that is dev1 and dev2. Also he has created two new files, file2.cs and file3.cs. Okay, now in file2.cs I make some modifications here. So go to edit. So here I'll remove these two lines. Okay, now save these changes and go to my file3.cs, edit this file. Also these two lines has been removed here. I want only two properties of my file3.cs. So here what happened is my file.cs has modified, that is the existing one, and my file2.cs and my file3.cs is completely new files. Now local dev1 wants to move these files from local git to GitHub repository, as shown below. So now I'll open this git bash here. I put ls command. See, now we can see two extra files, that is my file.cs and my file2.cs, my file3.cs, and my file.cs is the existing one, readme.file also the existing one. Okay, now what will happen here, I want to modify this file, I want to add these files to my staging area. So what I'll do here, that I want to add these files to the staging area. So before doing this, I want to check the status of these files or of the workspace of local dev to git status. So here the existing file, that is my file.cs, changes is not committed to staging area, and the new files called my file.2cs and my file3.cs are under untracked file, means these files are not in git history. So I need to add first these new files to staging area, but only my file2.cs, not my file3.cs. Finally, I want to commit my file.cs and my file2.cs files to staging area and push those files to GitHub repository, and changes made in file3.cs put in locally itself. So for this, what will happen, I will run some command here. So I want to push only two files, my file2.cs and my file.cs to staging area. So git add my file.cs. Okay, now same I will do git add my file2.cs. Okay, now if I will check the status, that is git status here, so what we'll see here, you can see that these files are ready to be committed to staging area, and not committed files are shown below. So these two files, that is my file.cs and my file2.cs, are ready to be committed to the local git repository, and my file3.cs, it's untracked file. That means it's not available in staging area. Okay, now I want to commit those changes to staging area using git commit command. Okay, now git commit -m and pushed files by local dev1. Press enter. Okay, now what I'll do, I want to configure my username or user email, and that part I already have described in my last video. You can check there. It is nothing called author identity unknown. Okay, now what happened, git config user.email and my mail ID I have put. Now same way I will configure my username, user.name, and this one is GitHub. Press enter. Now it is done. So I just maximize this one for clear visible. So now I will type my git command here. Click enter. So here you can see these two files has been committed to my local Git repository, that is 2 files has changed and 20 insertions, nothing but 20 new lines made by local dev1 to myfile.cs and myfile2.cs. So I already have described what is insertions and deletions. Insertions is identify plus symbol, deletions has been identified by the minus symbol. So now these files are available in my local Git repository. Okay, now what will happen, that then I will push the change files from local Git to my GitHub repository. So for this I want a command called Git Push. So Git Push, origin is the alias and the branch is main, because default branch is main branch. So I'll click here, enter. So here the command, I'll put the origin here nothing but the alias name of your GitHub repository, and here main is nothing but the default branch. Now my files has been pushed successfully from local Git repository to remote GitHub repository. That's why it is showing that it is already moved to those files under this git clone URL or GitHub repository. So now I'll go to my GitHub account here. I'll just refresh. So in GitHub repository you can see under main branch nothing but the default branch here. It is the default branch, you can see, and here you can see that the committed files are in GitHub repository. We can see those committed files are pushed by local dev1 with added comments. You can see local file myfile.cs is pushed files by local dev1, and myfile2.cs comment is pushed files by local dev1. These comments are nothing but added at the time of commit those files to local Git repository. That's why the same files and comments has been moved to our remote GitHub repository successfully. Okay, now as per the flow diagram, the local dev1 is working on multiple repository and projects. To know which repository the local dev1 has pushed these changes using command. So how to know this? Just open this git bash here and write this command git remote -v. So click enter here. So it shows the GitHub repository name is Satya2, and here you can see this 2 origin, that is 2 clone for fetch and for push. In this way we can check that which repository the user or developer has pushed these changes or pulled these changes using git remote command. Okay, now here you will check the file contents in GitHub repository, what has been pushed by the local dev1 here. First I'll check myfile.cs. So here I click on this file. See here whatever changes modified by the local dev1 on the existing file, that is myfile.cs. I added this command and this line, brother name in eng. So pushed file, that is the commit message, is showing here as well. Now I'll go to here. I can see the same myfile2.cs content of GitHub repo. I just click here and I can see the new files is committed to our GitHub repository. Is completely new, that is myfile.2.cs with commit message pushed files by local dev1. Okay, now I want to the version ID or commit ID of these files. So I just click here. Now you can see my file.cs. You can see here under main branch the user committed 5 minutes ago 2 changed files, that is nothing but my file2.cs and my file.cs and my file2.cs with 20 additions. That means 20 new lines, 0 deletion. There's nothing has been removed here. So my file.cs is three new insertions here. One line is new line created, one comment, and one new property added here. That's why it is called 3 insertions. And my file2.cs has 17 insertions because I have completed creating completely new files. That's why every line is a new insertion lines. That's why it is called plus symbols. It is 17 insertions here in my file2.cs. It is a new file pushed by the local dev 1. That is why 3 insertions of my file.cs and 17 new insertions of my file2.cs. Total 20 additions here, or 20 insertions. So here you can see the commit ID generated here, ABCD something. Here you can see here. Let's check the same commit ID in the local dev 1 part. Go to here .git folder and refs folder, refs. Go to heads folder, and here it is nothing but the branch name. I open with the notepad here this main file, or it is a branch name. As many you created other branches, the same name will be created here, as you see here the main branch. So I'll click notepad, OK. Now you can see the same commit ID is generated in your local dev 1 workspace. What you see here in GitHub repository, the commit ID is same here. Okay. So what happened? As of now, we clearly understood that how to modify the existing file and added the new files to our local Git repository as well as remote GitHub repository. Now what I'll do here, local dev 2 wants these changes to his workspace using command. That is, he wants my file.cs with modifications made by local dev 1 as well as he wants my file2.cs new files to his workspace. So I'll go here and I'll go to the local dev 2 workspace here. So just back this folder and you need to go to the dev 2 workspace here and go to Satya 2 folder. I just close this instance of local dev 1. So I just click here git bash. So git bash will open under local dev 2 workspace here. Just put ls command. You can see under local dev 2 workspace 2 files, my file.cs, readme.md file. Okay. Now what happened, local dev 2 wants these files to his workspace. What we'll do here, I execute the command called Git Pool. So here these 2 files, go to the Satya 2 repository. So my file.cs and my file2.cs with new and existing modification has been pulled by the local dev 2 to his workspace. There you can see here my file.cs is moved to his workspace and my file2.cs also with 3 new lines. My file.cs and my file2.cs has 17 new insertions here, new lines here. 2 files is changed with total 20 insertions. What insertion I already have described in earlier. So same things has been pulled by the local dev 2. So here you can see my file.cs and local dev2 and my file2.cs is available. So we'll check the content here, that is my file.cs here, added by local dev1 and new properties brother name in eng, and we'll check the my file2.cs with content, that is the completely new file with 4 different new properties here, whatever added by the local dev1. So now I'll give one trick. Instead we'll right click here and go to edit and check the content. Instead we can check it using the command. So local dev2 want to check the updated content of this file, so I want to one command is there, cat my file.cs, press enter. Now you can see this line is added by local dev1, and cat my file.2.cs, click enter. Here you can see the new files is created by the local dev1 now available to the local dev2 workspace here. So here what we learned till now is clone and pull command are with single commands, but for commit and push we need some steps. So those steps are already I've described using flow diagram in the beginning of this video. Now I'll go to my presentation here. So check this one, the Git flow diagram, which one I already described. Let's go to the next slide here, Git commands in detail. So Git Add, this command is used to add files in staging area of local repository. Git Status command, this command is used to check the file status available in local repository. Git Push command, this command is used to move files to remote GitHub repository. Git Pool, this command is used to get files from remote GitHub repo to local Git repo. And Git Remote, this command is used to know which repository the local dev1 or local dev2 has pushed these changes. So this is my YouTube channel Coding Knowledge. Subscribe and share it to get the up-to-date knowledge on .NET, .NET Core, DevOps, Angular, Bootstrap, C#, SQL Server, GitHub and Jenkins. So what we'll have learned today in this video is understand the Git flow with a real-time example, how to share the files between developers, multiple users, and know about the different useful and important commands used in GitHub or Git, that Git Add, Git Status, Git Push, Git Remote and Git Pool, and how to work on different files of same repository or same project between different developers on GitHub account. So that's all about, guys. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.